'Cause we be on a tough love. Oh, we feeling so high. Don't be afraid of falling, 'cause you know we gon' fly. 'Cause we be on a tough love. Oh, we feeling so.
Hi guys, welcome back to Reader's Corner. In today's video, I am looking at the book named The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Maxaka. I got this book after I saw Sofa Rush posting it, and she had just indicated as one of the best books she's read. And I'm thankful that I got to read this book at a time when I was in a hurry in my life, because it sort of brought a reminder to calm myself. So how this book actually starts, it's about hurrying in life, generally just hurrying, that hurry is stealing a lot of your soul time, that you're not nurturing who you are or your soul because of you're constantly in a hurry. So John starts off the book with questioning, by asking a question to his mentor, and it says, what do I need to do to become the me that I want to be? And his mentor said, you must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. So here, what John comes in to say is that the problem with so much toxicity in the world is hurry. And why is hurry toxic to our world and our environment? And for me, for example, if we look at us in our 20s, is we want to have accomplished certain things. Most of us want to be driving these cars and be this far in our careers and be married and whatever, when we're not allowing time to take its course. Also, we're constantly on social media, we're buying things online, we want more things. So there's a lot of hurry. There's a lot of hurrying in our life that we're missing out portions of our souls, or we're selling our souls to the world. John notes that hurry and love are incompatible, and I've never actually looked at it this way, because love requires time. Love is patient, and if you look at how you are when you're in a hurry, you're highly irritable, like you get irritated quickly, you're always snapping. If somebody comes to you when you're in a hurry, you can't even communicate with them properly. So hurry steals away, steals relationships, it steals gratitude, it steals moments of joy. And this is what he comes in to speak about in the book. So we're basically in a continuous struggle and unremitting attempt to accomplish or achieve more and more things, or participate in more and more events in less and less time. So what are the symptoms of hurry? You are highly irritated, like you get irritated easily. Another thing is that there's a lot of restlessness, so you hardly find rest. And I'm just gonna read from a book where he mentions that when you actually do try to slow down and rest, you cannot relax. You give Sabbath a try and you hate it. You read scripture but find it boring. You have quiet time with God but cannot focus your mind. You go to bed early but toss and turn with anxiety. You watch TV but simultaneously check your phone, fold laundry, and get into a spat on Twitter. Your mind and your body are hyped on the drug of speed, and when they don't get the next dopamine fix, they shiver. Another thing he says indicates that you are in a hurry is you're a workaholic. You just cannot stop. You just don't know when to stop, or worse, you cannot stop. Another hour, another day, another week, your drugs of choice are accomplishment and accumulation. These could show up as careerism, or just as obsessive house cleaning and errand running. So we thought, I actually thought this would just be like your accountants and your auditors and whatever. It includes even if you're staying at home and just being super busy. So the result is you fall prey to sunset fatigue, whereby days end and you have nothing left to give to your spouse, children, or loved ones. They get the curt, overtired you, and it's not pretty. Okay, so I thought, there's also emotional numbness. And I thought being in a hurry actually takes you away from being present. You can lose someone and not even feel that it hurts, that you've lost somebody that you love. You don't take care of your body. And these are some of the symptoms of being in a hurry. You don't make time for exercise, time for mindfulness, for example. So he says that hurry is also a sign that we're running away from something. something. We're running away from father wounds, from childhood trauma, from deep insecurities or deficits of self-worth, fear of failure or boredom. So it's actually an escape mechanism. You're going to try and keep yourself busy with something in order to avoid having to sit down with yourself and find out who you are, what you're called to do, what is happening with your soul, basically. So he comes up and because he's identified the problem, which is hurry, he gives us the solutions to that. And it's like, how do we resolve the problem of being in a constant state of hurrying? Is that then he lists 4 practices for unhurrying your life. The first one is silence and solitude. In this part of the book, he just highlights how Jesus went to the wilderness and came out with clarity about his identity and calling. He was grounded and centered and in touch with God and with himself. It's only from that place that he knew what to say no to and yes to. So he also just highlights that when you enter into a place of silence, you enter into a place of joy. And I thought, just looking at how he speaks of when Jesus would speak to God or spend time away from everyone else, the noise, the people, the radio, the shows, the fame, because he was famous, so he had the attention he needed. And he had commitments, he was busy, but he needed the time to come back and be centered and be grounded and know which shows to entertain and which not to entertain. So the first thing is silence and solitude. That means you spend time with yourself, you spend time with God, you silence external and internal noise. Internal noise is more your thoughts, and I know because you're so busy, you can't even silence that. Sometimes you read the Bible and all you get is, you haven't done this, your finances are terrible, you're not together, and we need to get into a space where we can discover and be centered in who God is and be rooted in who he is, so it can redefine us. And I think the place of rest is a place where you finally realize that there's so many things that come up in life, but Jesus then comes in and he says, I'm offering you a new way to do life, where these responsibilities come, these burdens come, but I'm going to try and give you equipment on how to deal with these daily activities. Only if you are rested, only if you find solitude and silence. And then the second thing that we can do to unhurry our life is to practice the Sabbath. And this is, you stop worrying, you stop watching, you stop wanting, you stop buying, you stop. There must just be a day in your life where you stop everything. You stop being on IG. I am guilty of that because I have excuses. I'm like, okay, but my YouTube or whatever. But there are times when we just need to stop and just reflect on what life has offered us. The third thing he says we can do to unhurry our lives is be simple, so simplicity. And in this part, he speaks of contentment, and he defines contentment as not allowing our unfulfilled desires to curb our happiness. So you haven't accomplished that LLM and you still feel like, oh my gosh, I am unhappy. You don't have that car, you still feel like, oh my gosh, I'm unhappy. But contentment doesn't stop you from being it basically reminds you that you have unfulfilled desires, but you must still be happy because life is happening around you, And then he makes reference to the fact that Americans are acquiring more stuff, but are unhappy. So he says that as a nation's wealth goes up, its happiness goes down. And I thought that is interesting when you look at actually how we think Americans are doing well, fairly well in terms of living large and acquiring stuff. Like they have the biggest shops in the world. However, they are unhappy. How do we know that? Why do we still see a lot of mass shootings? If you have people who are happy, well-fed, and they have everything, circumstances are different in a country. Poverty is not something we can justify, or lack something we can justify. But I think even if you have everything, if there's no happiness, it's also an issue. So he tries to remind us that to be in a place of contentment. And then he gives us ways to, for example, simplify our lives, like giving away things, learning to enjoy things without owning them, cultivating a deep appreciation of creation, like nature, cultivating a deep appreciation for simple pleasures in life, like phone calls, like taking a walk, like warmth, like just sunbathing, sitting outside and enjoying the sun. So I love warmth in all of its facets, and that's why warmth is one of the stuff I had to add on the list. Finally, the last thing he says you can do to unhurry your life is to slow down. And he gives examples, practical examples in how you can slow down. And I don't agree with any of them, because I'm just like, it's impossible. He says that you must parent your phone, so make your phone into some form of dummy phone where all you do is just get calls and nothing else. And he says you can set times for emails. I'm only checking my emails from 4 a.m. till 6, and then I'm done, and then I'm working on other stuff. And I'm saying it's impossible because my job doesn't allow me to do something like that. And then he says kill TV. I mean, like, how? How do you kill Netflix? How do you kill the next show? But these are disciplines that we can practice. I like the fact that he says you can write down your dreams, your prophetic words, your sense of direction from the Holy Spirit. I think that sort of calms you down and brings you into a place of slowing down because you understand where you're going. And then finally, he says you can take, long vacations. So basically, that's the end of our review with The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And here's the book. It's actually good. As you can see, I have flags everywhere. That's how good it is. And I hope you learned something from the book. And please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, recommend, do the mosty. Goodbye. Thank you.